So we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you again for being here. We're so excited for this very special webinar. For those of you new to this initiative, the STEM Learning Ecosystems Community of Practice, SLECOP, there's a mouthful, supported by TIES, which you can find at stemecosystems.org, harnesses the power of business and industry, funders and foundations, K-12 schools, higher education, and more to find solutions to common problems and to build thriving communities. The SLECOP is focused on being an inclusive STEM community that champions access to innovation, opportunity, equity, and lifelong learning. Today we have rock stars. Let's just call them rock stars, not even guests, from two very distinct organizations that are working toward a common goal that many of us share, and that is effective STEM outreach in Spanish-speaking communities. First, we have La Fuerza de Familias Latinas, the strength of Latin families. The ultimate goal of the program La Fuerza de Familias Latinas is to continue to scale nationally and impact as many Spanish-speaking parents and caregivers as they can. La Fuerza de Familias Latinas by Literacy Partners is a national education program designed to support Spanish-speaking parents and caregivers with children aged 0 to 8 with virtual and in-person workshops. What a cool narrow focus. I like that. They work on digital learning content, professional development opportunities, and a long-term creative partnership with Univision. We will also hear from Laura Segura, one of my favorite people on the planet, with Movimiento STEM, a very large, let's underline that, an innovative STEM ecosystem that serves the entire nation of Mexico. How are you reaching Spanish-speaking communities in your STEM ecosystem? That's a big question, right? How might we be more effective in supporting students, parents, and teachers in Spanish-speaking communities? We will hear from two experts, Lara and Catherine, in this field. In addition to our important work with La Fuerza and Mexico STEM, at the end you'll hear more about the National STEM Festival, which is coming up, and we have resources to share with you for that festival. So I'd like to introduce our guests. First, Catherine Mora. Catherine was raised in the vibrant borough of Queens, New York. How cool is that, right? Catherine knows firsthand the challenges that young Latino students face when conquering intimidating subjects like math and science. She has transformed her own experiences into a fiery passion for providing equitable access to educational opportunities. This fall, get this, Catherine will be engaging with partners nationally for a project called La Fuerza STEM. The project is supported by the National Science Foundation and is spearheaded by Literacy Partners, Univision, and the Education Development Center. Together, they will launch La Fuerza STEM, which aims to engage Spanish-speaking families in science learning by developing a telenovela to model science activities that caregivers and young children can do at home. I also want to introduce Laura Segura to you. Many of you know Laura. But if you don't, you should get to know her because she's amazing. She's a psychologist who is passionate about education and social innovation with experience in civil society organizations that work with educational strategies, particularly aimed at women, people with disabilities, entrepreneurship, and promotion of STEM education. At Movimiento STEM Plus, she has participated in the strengthening and consolidation of institutional strategies, as well as the coordination and operation of research and intersectoral research collaborations carried out by the institution. She currently leads the institutional development area. So here's my first question for you all. Catherine, your approach to reaching parents and children in Spanish-speaking communities is way outside the box. Maybe you don't even remember where the box is, right? How did you come to the idea of using a telenovela to reach Spanish-speaking families? I hear that you have some exciting news about a premiere of telenovela. Let us know more about this, Catherine. And Laura, if you would go ahead and drop the link in the chat, that would be great.
Thank you, Zan, for the introduction. And I will say that I did not invent this.
Take credit for it.
Yeah. I mean, as we know, when we think about the social learning theory, right? And when thinking about how people learn is through observation and through modeling. And for the past couple of years, we've had a long-standing creative collaboration with Univision, in crafting this hit telenovela called La Fuerza de Creer. And so together we've co-created season 2, which shines this spotlight on how parents can boost their children's early learning at home in their language, in their culture, with things that they have, with the wisdoms that they know. And so we've been working the past years, and we've impacted over 5,000 families nationally just through this program tied to the telenovela. And we're really proud of sort of all the strides and the gains that we've made throughout the years, that in our next sort of big season of the telenovela focus on STEM literacy at home, we're excited to bridge that opportunity gap in terms of helping parents and children and our Latino society see themselves in STEM, and the opportunities that lie there, and sort of the careers that exist within their own community that are STEM related. And so we're really excited to create and build on this community that we've built over the past 5 years, and really leverage all the relationships that we've made with partners, with parents, parent leaders, and all of those trusted messengers to send out this message of families and the home is the perfect backdrop and the perfect foundation for STEM learning experiences. It all really starts in the home, and extends into the school space. It extends into the museum space, or all the spaces that we're engaging our local community and our families. And so, as we know, telenovelas are beloved in our Latino and Hispanic community, and it's sort of the perfect platform to relay these powerful educational and motivational, inspirational messages. And so why not a telenovela? There's so many rich themes that, aside from the educational messages, there's drama and there's family tied into the themes, the major themes of the telenovela. And so it's just a great way to ingest and digest that information, that also make it sort of a social activity where parents and caregivers can talk about what they saw and heard with other parents and caregivers. I mean, this is what's happening in the Latino homes already. We thrive and live through conversation. And so why not create a telenovela about how to positively interact with your children around their learning journey?
Wow, mad props to you. I think that is so cool. It is so heads up to use something that people are enjoying anyway and use it for STEM. Like that's fantastic. I love that. And I know that you're not only like you're centered in Queens, but you're looking to expand, right? Like to Miami and Houston and LA was
Yeah,
yeah.
we serve families from anywhere in the US and even Puerto Rico. We have a great fan base in Puerto Rico. So any parent or caregiver that has a child 0 to 8 can join our workshop completely free virtually or in person at a partner near them that might be hosting and facilitating this sort of experience or workshop. And as you mentioned, our next season is set to premiere on Monday, September 25th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time on Univision. And we have a special trailer that we're going to share in the Zoom chat that you can watch later. Subtitles are in English, so you can fully just see sort of what the big theme is about the telenovela.
Awesome. Catherine, let me have a sneak peek at the sneak peek trailer, and it is awesome. You're going to love it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We'll come back to you with hard questions in a second. But for now, we'll go to the other brilliant young woman in here, and that is Lara Segura, who is a leader in Movimiento STEM. Like on these very young shoulders rests like STEM for the entire country of Mexico. Lara, like no small task, right? So I have a feeling that you, like Catherine, have a few things going on with reaching Spanish-speaking communities, right? So please share with us like what's going on in Mexico and what are some cool things that you're seeing emerge in your work there.
Sure, excellent. Thank you. Thank you. And I'm so happy to be here with you and also with Catherine and everyone who is joining us in this session. I'm going to tell you a bit about Movimiento STEM, who we are and what we are doing in the country, and taking it also to the region of Latin America and the Caribbean. Well, we are a civil association that has always known that if we move through systemic change, then we are going to get STEM education into every school, even every home, of the country. Of course, it's little by little, but we are doing great things in this area. So when we talk about systemic change, we talk about joining forces with other actors. We work intersectorally. So we have schools, and we have government, and we have companies and universities, and many kinds of different kinds, well, many kinds of institutions are part of what we do. And we create these projects and these initiatives that many of the actors can join. So this is all to implement STEM education with quality, because we know that there are certain things that tell us that something it's been doing right. So we have like 4 strategic axes that we know that STEM education can impact, which are inclusion with a gender perspective and focus on women. We also work towards innovation and entrepreneurship, and we work with workforce development for the 4th industrial revolution. And we also work with 2030 agenda of the UN, and we have made a focus on environment, because it's something that of course needs to be attended like now. So we know that STEM education impacts all these axes. So we have different initiatives that work with STEM education and with this specific areas. So we do, well, we have 4 pillars of work and a transversal one. We create a strategic linkage between all these actors. We have around 150 national actors in the ecosystem. Some of them work more locally, but we try to have like this very intensive work with national institutions. We also work towards STEM quality, and we work mainly with schools in this area. And we also have this STEM culture development, because we know that if we create all these spaces, all these people that are talking about STEM, and that know that it impacts all these strategic access, then we can have a more relevant conversation, and you know, then we can have all these actors working towards what we want. So we also work with STEM women. We know that we cannot leave all this talent behind, and we need to have you know, this boiling community of support for women, and you know, getting them to have very successful trajectories in STEM. And our transversal pillar is research and indicators. We have created the national strategy for STEM education in Mexico. So this has like different levels. On the first one, we create like this national vision with national actors, so that they can be decision makers towards a better STEM education, a quality STEM education for everyone. This strategy has like this you know, top level institutions, and we have like you know, we work with documents that have different things for different people. And now, right now, we have just launched a book that is about how to apply STEM education in school spaces mainly, but also in non-formal education spaces, and also at home. So it has like all these different very grounded suggestions, and it has like some examples of successful cases. Actually, Tulsa is part of the book. Yeah. So Exam is an example for us, because they have made like a really strong ecosystem. So we want to have like all this. We want to open these possibilities for STEM education implementators. So this is I'm going to share the link in a moment, but this is a new baby. So that's like the overall panorama of what we do. We also have we impulse public policy mainly through our research projects. because we know that if we don't have information and data behind what we want to do and what we want other actors to do with us, then it's gonna be like very weak the way that we approach these actors. So we need to have like, all this information behind us to really create these changes so that we know where we are and we know where we want to go. So we also create national standards, and we have also just a few weeks ago we were able to have the Secretary of Education recognize this this framework for STEM education and a training that we have to be part of what teachers can use so they can have like better chances for going well, gaining leadership and of course having more money for what they do in the teaching in their teaching activities. So that's something that's rather new for us, but it's like something that needed to be done. And yeah, that's like the overall focus of what we do. And if you want to know more, of course, feel free to reach out, and we'll be more than happy to have conversations and to see how we can collaborate.
Awesome. Laura, thank you so much. The Mexico STEM ecosystem has sincerely been very generous in sharing what you've learned, and I think it's one of my favorite things about the SLECOP is the strength of our international STEM ecosystems and how generously you share with the United States and how desperately the United States needs to learn from strong examples like Mexico. So thank you for that. So it is Hispanic Heritage Month, and we're celebrating that. And so how fortunate are we that we have our friends Catherine and Laura, right, to give us like the inside scoop as all 117 STEM ecosystems, which probably 115 of them have robust, thriving Spanish-speaking communities. Like these ladies have come today, among other things, to tell us what they're doing, but also to give us the inside scoop, right? Like, here are things that you should always do. These things always work in reaching Spanish-speaking communities. And here's some things please never do, or please stop doing, or these never work. These will always blow up on you. Like, only a real friend would tell you this. And we have real friends in Catherine and Laura. So Laura and Catherine, with our remaining 10 minutes or so, like, I know that I would love to hear from you, like, just straight up, like, what are things that to include, as Catherine said, and things to, like, exclude from our practices as we strive to reach and engage our very beloved Spanish-speaking communities with STEM opportunities. So, Catherine, will you kick us off with that?
Yes. So this is I have many answers to this question, but I'll keep it very brief, but also very willing to sort of get where people are sort of struggling and challenged with in the Q&A as well, to sort of formulate some other types of responses. But I'll start first that I know that many of our ecosystems serve different audiences, right? And so, you know, in Laura's case, like she's more sort of working with educators, right, in terms of professional development side of things. But for literacy partners, we're really focused on family, right? Family-centered approaches and thinking about how do we place the family at the center of the activity. And when we think about Latino families, a lot of it is involving parents and caregivers and tios and tias and cousins, like all in the learning and that extended family. It makes it super powerful in terms of that learning environment for the child, right? When we think about that 2-generational, 3-generational approach, well, in this case, a multi-generational approach to learning. And so we really want to make sure that we highlight that family in that role of learning so that together they sort of explore that curiosity about the world and showcase how those family interactions is the foundation of that learning, right? And the more that the parents feel that they can get involved in the best ways that they know how, with all the skill sets and all the tools that they already have in their tool belt when thinking about a strengths-based approach, the more that they want to be a part of it and repeat it, and the more that they look for resources and opportunities for their family. So it's really focusing on that family-centered approach to learning, and how you can be inclusive is sort of one of those hallmarks that you should always try to include in terms of programming or opportunities.
I love that. I love the strengths-based approach, and not coming to them with like, well, come over here and do this cool thing that we've thought of for you that you've never heard of before. It'll take you about 10 minutes to get like, no. Like start with where their strengths are, and that can look a lot of different ways, right? Like, so
Yeah.
yeah. What else? Laura, what do you think?
Well, actually, we see inclusion as this overall thing that well, in our case, it touches different origins. If you live in a rural community or a semi-urban community, then you have less chance to be aware of STEM education. And if you have, like, I don't know, if you have to walk 2 hours to get to your school, of course, it's going to be less important for you to actually go to school, and it's going to be more important to you to have something to eat. So for us, there are many needs, basic needs, personal needs that need to be attended before getting to what we actually want as STEM educators as a whole. So we know that there are these challenges, and it's not like we're not looking to attend them. It's just that it's harder and it's way more expensive than using communities that are more that we can reach more easily. So that's like one. We also work with, we want to work more with disabilities, because there's no information, there's no way that they will educators understand how to work with this content. But we know that this book that we just launched is going to be so helpful, because they can see how STEM education is everywhere and how they can bring it to what they are doing with their population. So we know that this book is going to be very useful for them, and a very important tool to gather all this information, and to imagine how they can take STEM education to their populations. Of course, I am not familiarized with what's going on with Latin communities in the United States, but what we can do, and what we know, is that first of all, language barriers are really important. So the more that you have this understanding of the whole community, of what your needs are, and what you have been able to reach as a Latin, Spanish-speaking person, really can make the difference, related to what you can what you can have access to, and the success trajectory that you are going to be able to walk. So of course, the fact that we have all this knowledge, all this experience, it can be very useful for all of them, because if of course, we are made a la mexicana. So but it's also a part of how we can embrace who you are, and of course, giving you different tools. We also have a women community, STEM women community, and we have a teacher community. So also we want to bring them to you, and maybe this experience can be really giving you a different vision of what's going on in education here in Mexico, and the Latin American partners that have been part of these communities. So the door is open for you to maybe just see what we are doing and what you are interested in joining. And I'm gonna share the link. I think right now, so you can see what we are doing, and also the specific link for the document around STEM education and how to bring it down to to be there, to have it in the classroom or at home or at any STEM education space that you are part of.
Awesome. I love that. Thank you so much, Laura. I was talking to Sylvia Perez at the New York Science STEM ecosystem last week or week before last, and she mentioned, like, definitely have food at events and make it food that they like. I was like, for now, like, that would be something that I'd do, like have food, but not think about, getting food from the community so that it's food that they enjoy, as opposed to food that they're like, what in the world is that? So I thought, like, super practical things, right? So we have about 2 minutes left. So Catherine, do you have any don't do's? Like, can you guys give us a lightning round of this is a showstopper for us?
Yeah, so I don't know, it's hard to choose, but I have two big ones. I would say avoid assumptions. I think many partners that I've worked with and many communities that I've been able to impact through my work, through the national work, is realizing that a lot of partners are surprised to learn that many Latino and Hispanic people today don't read Spanish or speak Spanish, right? But that doesn't mean that they don't culturally identify, right? And so often, this impacts sort of like how we do outreach, right? Because we just assume that our Spanish speaking community speaks Spanish. And so I would say, even when it comes to language and culture, just don't assume, really get to know and understand your community. And I've worked with partners that they believe that, okay, you're Hispanic, you're Latino, you speak Spanish, right? But there may be an indigenous language that they are connected to and that they use, and Spanish is in fact maybe the language that they are learning, right? And that is their second or third language. And so I think we need to be respectful and understand that our communities, no matter which language you speak, have sort of these centuries of lived experiences in science, and really language should not be the barrier to reaching them, but being more visual with our content and our outreach, and figuring out what is the best way to reach and approach this community. And often that just takes a lot of research and time and dedication, and meeting with champions in that community to better understand what is the best way for how to include everyone in sort of the learning. And so I would say avoid assumptions, and just be open-minded and practice active listening, do a lot of research in your community, and build that before you sort of send out a flyer and it's not going to sort of get the type of engagement that you want. The second thing that I want to say is avoid sort of giving direct advice and prescribing, because we're always thinking of a deficit-minded approach, right? That no, these parents don't have this, they don't have that, they don't know this, they don't know that, right? And so there's so much in our culture, in our history, in our traditions that do explore these topics, and we are already doing science and STEM and learning. We're already acting like scientists every single day, right? And so we don't need to have a certification, a degree to tell us that we are doing this. And so I would say tap into what parents already know, what they're knowledgeable about, what their wisdoms are, and meet them where they are, right? And then come in with your STEM concepts in a way that they can fit into that with their stories that they already know and the activities that they already do. And so, like someone saying, yes, co-designing and collaborating together. How can you get those parent leaders, those parent champions to be your advisors when you're creating curriculum and programming? Because then that program is going to be more relatable and relevant to that community because you've included that parent voice, which really now touches on inclusivity and equity across. And so that is super powerful, and that transcends even to your team that's working on the projects and the programs and the opportunities. It's super important. And I think often I hear that our team doesn't have a Spanish speaking person. We don't have capacity. But if you turn to your community, you will find them, right? The way that we've been able to grow literacy partners and La Fuerza de Familias Latinas is through our 20 wonderful Spanish speaking facilitators that have come through our workshops, and we recognize and saw their potential and their interest in wanting to bring more people onto this movement, right? And so we train them up, we give them the tools, we give them the message, and they get out there and bring families. And they are sort of the ones that have their eyes on all of the content and curriculum. Is this relatable? No, the community is not going to get this. Oh no, don't use that STEM jargon because that's not living room language, right? How are families talking about science at home, and how can we incorporate it in the curriculum and use that? And so I will say, I know I said a lot here, and a lot of it I can elaborate even more. And a lot of this looks different into practice, right? These are sort of big ideas. And I'd be happy to talk and sort of talk with other people that are trying to target the Spanish speaking community, and the Latino and the Hispanic community, and thinking about how are the ways that they are doing it and maybe which ways that they can improve. So happy to chat some more, but I just wanted to share sort of those anecdotes.
That's wonderful. I knew this would be the case, right? Like my cup is completely full. Laura and Catherine, thank you so much for all you've shared. You've engaged and inspired us. And if it's okay, we would love to share your contact info with our audience, because you've just been exactly spot on. And I know that there will be many and rich and deep conversations that will follow this. Thank you. I have so much to think about. I don't know if I'll be able to sleep tonight. That was wonderful. Thank you all so very much for joining today's conversation. And now we actually have a powerful, yet another tool that we could use to begin immediately acting on some of the ideas that we've heard from Catherine and Laura today. The National STEM Challenge is right around the corner. Students in grades 6 through 12 can enter this National STEM Challenge to showcase their creativity, their problem solving, and their STEM skills. The National STEM Challenge has these really super cool categories. It's all the things that students, all of us actually are interested in, right? Powering the planet, future foods, one of my favorites, tech for good, health and medicine, environmental stewardship, and space innovation. Students can learn more at www.nationalstemchallenge.com. Lauren will drop that in the chat. They can pre-register right now at the website, and then they will be notified on October 3rd that they can begin submitting their entries. So there will be 200 STEM champions selected to join us in Washington, D.C. in April of next year to showcase their work during the National STEM Festival, which is being led by Explore and the U.S. Department of Education. And because we think that the STEM Challenge and the STEM Festival are such good fits for our ecosystems, we've developed a toolkit that you can use for figuring out how you can leverage that STEM Challenge to reach more students, all of them. It'll be great. Also, we are holding a deeper dive webinar next week at noon Eastern Standard Time on Thursday, September 28th. So don't miss that. That's 1 week from tomorrow, September 28th. Finally, don't forget that we will have our friend Ruth Farmer with us on Tuesday, October 17th at noon Eastern Time for a webinar on the Last Mile Education Project. Truly life-changing work and a favorite from the live pitch at the convening last May. Here's the registration link for that event, which will conclude our back to school tour, which we began together in August. And Lauren will drop the link for registration for that as well. So thank you so much for joining us. Go out and practice active listening, do your research, get to know your community, and reach more students, and celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month in that way. Thank you, Catherine and Laura, for inspiring us. We'll see you next Wednesday at noon Eastern Time for a deep dive on the National STEM Festival. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.